Well, good morning. Today is Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, and it is 11:51 a.m. in the soon-to-be afternoon. As you can see, I'm at Lake Hawkins. Give you guys a view of the lake. I'm standing on one of my really amazing friends' docks. And many of you know, if you have looked back on my other videos that I have done, I have mentioned her. My kayak is docked at her, and one day I will put the pieces together as to how her and I's journey has come together. But she is one of the most amazing spiritual human beings I have ever met. And she has some amazing stories herself, but that's her journey. I am coming to you guys in full armor. I am coming to you guys vulnerable, as pure and as honest as I possibly can in my fullness. There are some that are going to go, look at her, she's got to be half dressed, this is getting ridiculous, this is getting out of hand. There are others who are going to say, God, look at what God has done in her, and look at how amazing she is looking. So it depends on your perspective, and it depends on what you know about me, and it depends on who you talk to, and it depends on what you're willing to open up yourself in your heart and in your mind and everything. And if you have been watching my journey for the past year, everything that I'm saying to you is going to make sense on different levels, different ways. And either there are lessons or blessings in everything that we go through. If you are here, you are meant to be here. You are meant to watch this. You are meant to, God has aligned some things in your life, whether this was then or this is now, where you're at in your journey, that you are supposed to see this. For some of you that are watching my journey, but aren't, I have a hard time saying things that are, God, I'm really trying, y'all. Depending on how you see me, depends on how you take me. And maybe that is something in your life that God is trying to show you. And maybe that is something in your life that you need to work on. Sometimes God is going to put people in your life to either bless you or teach you, or for you to plant a seed, or for them to plant a seed in you, or as you grow and as you learn and as you expand yourself and as you allow God to show you things, good or bad, however you want to see that, it depends on the lens in which you're going to view this. And I say this with such a broad lens. And I am hoping that some people's spiritual eyes are going to open on a deeper level in what I am explaining to you. I have documented my journey for about a year now. I think I started about a year at this point in my journey. And you're going to have to go back and look at videos. You're going to have to start talking to people who may know me. You're going to have to start to do things, because as God is moving things faster, me continuing to tell my past and tell my journey isn't going to move us forward in this. And the more time that I take to talk about my past, the more time it leaves me in my past. And I have to move forward in what God has for me. And that's where witnesses come in. That's where people talking about it. The more that we talk about God, the more that we talk about Jesus, the more that we talk about our journey, the more people start to talk about where they were at in their journey and where people are at, and as they're watching their journey, the more people talk about it, the bigger they're starting to see the Bible, the bigger they're starting to see biblically what's happening, the more God is showing them things. So depending on where you see me in my journey depends on how you're going to perceive the next thing that I tell you. And I'm going to try to explain all of this on different levels. What I'm going to explain to you, I do not have a paper in front of me. I don't even know how to explain this to you yet. I just know that I'm supposed to tell you this. And I am asking God to give me the words to explain to you so that however you visually see me, however you spiritually see me, however you physically see me, however you spiritually hear me, is all going to depend on how deep you're willing to go to understand me. Ooh, I just got chills. This is not an easy thing to do, y'all. The Bible talks about not gossiping about other people. The Bible talks about not hurting God's people. What I am about to explain to you and share with you has nothing to do with me getting revenge. It has nothing to do with me hurting somebody. What my intent in this is to help people learn, is to help people grow, and by God, to help people wake up. If we do not start to talk about the reality of what is happening, we cannot help them. We cannot support. We cannot pray for them. We cannot know what to pray or how to pray. If somebody isn't bold enough to start talking about the bigger picture of what is happening with ourselves, what is happening in our communities, what is happening in our circle, what is happening in our world. I am trying as hard as I can to bring and show you on earth as it is in heaven. I've talked a lot the past week, and I talked about narcissism, and I don't have to explain to you narcissism. I don't have to go in depth to you about narcissism, because on some way, shape, or form, everybody knows what a narcissist looks like. I have been a narcissist, and I've also dealt with narcissists. God, give me the strength. On a spiritual level, they are called the Jezebel spirit. I have been a Jezebel and I have seen a Jezebel. And we are fighting something bigger than ourselves. On a level that many do not understand. But when you have watched the devil in front of you rip the souls out of people that you love, your fight looks a lot different. And when you have been out of it, you cannot unsee what you have seen in the spiritual realm. That you in the time where you were at in your journey had no idea what God was protecting you from until He pulls you out and makes you be still to see things differently. There are people on my Facebook who know exactly what I'm talking about. These are people we love. These are people we care about that are under the witch's spell unlike anything I've ever seen. And when you know that, you do everything in your power to save them. Until you go into a spiritual realm and you realize how much power you don't have. Until you look at something completely different and you go, my God, what is happening? What you see on the surface level it's called 3D. They call it the 3D level. It's in front of you. It's right here. It's happening. It's worldly view of something. Your perception of someone is based on how you see them. You judge a book by its cover, not taking the time to read the pages, not taking the time to read the content. So we know Genesis and we know Revelations. But have you bothered to read the content in between that got us from Genesis to Revelations? Do you know the depth of what is happening if you don't start reading the Bible with spiritual eyes? I have been trying for days to record this video, and there has been a timestamp put on my videoing, and I couldn't figure out why. And I kept going, why can I not video this? And I went, the devil's playing with me. The devil doesn't want this to get out. The devil doesn't want people to know things. And I kept going, okay, God, I'm giving too much emphasis on the devil. I'm giving him too much power. I'm giving him too much of what's happening. I'm giving him too much in depth of what is going on. And I said, show me, God, show me what I need to see. Let me lean on you. Let me start to look at things a little bit different. Let me understand that you are working in this. Let me understand why you're working in this. Let me understand what is happening in all of this. It wasn't time. I had to go through some healing moments these past couple days, this past week. I had to go through some things in order for God to get me in this moment, in this time, to be bold enough to stand here and tell you something, be bold enough to share my journey differently. And if you are on my Facebook, you are all witnesses to everything that God has been doing in my journey. And you are all following and watching what he is doing because God is leading it all. I cannot go back and give you detail to detail my past week, but I'm going to give you a really great rundown of everything that's happened to you this week. And maybe there's going to be some people on my Facebook that are actually going to speak up and they're going to say, holy cow, I cannot believe what is happening, because I have been giving details on my Facebook as we go. I am giving photos. I am giving proof. I am showing. I am doing. I am date stamping everything as we go. saying that God is going to start to bring me into a new place financially. And there's got to be something that God is doing. And I knew that I needed to, that my job was done. Where I was at, it was done. And I kept going, there's something new. God's got a new job for me. God's got a new something for me. Something new is coming. And within that week, I met some people. I can't even go, God, there's so much detail to this. My mind is just going like this, you all, and I'm trying to backtrack, and I'm trying to be still, and I'm trying to present this for you to understand. God positioned me for a new job. I quit the job that I was doing and gave myself a couple days to relax, to breathe, to spend time with God. And I knew that I needed to regenerate myself. I needed to refocus. And so I took some time off between one job to start the new job. Well, not all my equipment got to me. And it delayed my job still to this day. 7 days, 8 days later, with no pay in between. I was supposed to only take like 4 days off of work. And here we are, 7, 8 days later into this. My laptop got stolen. It got delivered somewhere else, and the people never gave it back to FedEx or whatever the case may be. They just decided to steal it. So we've had to go through this whole process in order to get me a whole new laptop for me to start this job. And by the grace of God, these people have been totally understanding, and they're like, this happens to us before. This is not because when you work from home, you encounter these things, and these things happen all the time. Well, had I not been still enough, had I not kept going with joy, had I not let go and said, this is out of my control, there's nothing that I can do about this, I just have to keep going, I just have to keep doing, and I just tried to enjoy my vacation with a whole bunch of storms in between. But had I not done that, I wouldn't be here telling you what God has done. So instead of looking at it, the devil tried to stop my finances. The devil tried to stop my job. I go, God, look what you have done in this. What was meant for evil, God turned for good. When you come from a cult mentality, and you are under the wrong leadership, under the wrong wing, under something that is not of God, but you are in a trance, you are being brainwashed, you are being told things, and they are taking your weaknesses and using them against you and telling you that you're going to be punished and telling you that this is this and telling you that this is that. Your perspective begins to change in so many ways. And again, it's a slow leak. Just like what's happening in the world is a slow leak. But we've all been told, but we didn't want to believe it. We've all been hearing it, but we didn't want to know it. It's too much. It's too hard. It's too much to swallow. There's no way that this can be happening on this type of scale. When you did something wrong and you look at it and you go, I can't believe I was that person, right? I can't believe I did that to somebody. I never wanted to be that person. I never wanted to do that. That wasn't my intention in this. It never is. But not to give glory to the devil, but to point out the devil's actions. Holy cow, y'all. The devil will do anything he needs to sneak in there, and any room that you give him, and anything that you do that gives him authority that he thinks he has, that gives him a light that he wants to be in, then we're allowing him to win. But when you can show that what the devil meant for evil, God turned for good with my laptop, then God gets the glory in that. Because had my laptop not been stolen, God couldn't do what he needed to do in me this week for me to be in this moment to speak to you. I've gone deeper with God on certain levels. On people who want to debunk and want to say that it's religion and want to say that that is not of God and that is witchcraft and that is this and that is that. It depends on your perspective and who you're listening to, who you're being influenced by. There are people who will do witchcraft and do word curses and say things and do things. But on the spiritual realm, there are real witches, you guys, doing real witchcraft on us, using spells, using the same earthly things that God gives us and using it against us. Sage, crystals. God uses the earth. If you read the Bible, minerals, God gave us things on earth. We are supposed to sustain ourselves on what he has given us. This past week, as I'm going higher, I have decided to dive into something more deep. Tarot reading, things that people are saying it's astronomy and it's witchcraft, and the Bible says we are not supposed to be diving into that. You are absolutely correct. So you need to discern who you're listening to and is what they are telling you of God. Is what they're telling you helping you or hurting you? Is it causing division or is it growing you and growing the people around you? And is it helping people? Are you able to heed the warnings in a loving way so that you can receive what is being said to you? I'm not moving the camera, y'all. It's moving itself. Remember that. God will position you to go into territories and go into places that people say are devilish and show God in it, depending on your purpose. If you're a nurse, maybe you're going into war zones and the COVID and all these things, and you have had to go against the germs and go against the norm and go against what everybody has said COVID is and show, and because you were told you had to get a shot and because you were told you had to do this, and you're like, we were trying to speak out against what people were saying COVID was as nurses, as doctors, and we got shut down. And we were told that we now, in order to have our jobs, have to get a shot, have to do this, Do you guys understand where I'm going with this? I don't have to keep talking, right? We're all starting to put the pieces together. We're all starting to line up things that God is doing, aren't we? In the spiritual realm, that looks a lot different. It's real. Not everybody has spiritual eyes. Not everybody is meant to see it. And it is okay. It doesn't make me crazy. It doesn't make me weird. There are a lot of us out here. But you don't want to hear it. And you don't want to listen because you'd rather have your religion eyeballs. Stand in truth. And God will show it. I can go into tarot knowing that everything I'm hearing is from God because it is for my good. It is for our good. And it is for His glory. You can pray it in. You can manifest it in. You can have goals. You can say, no, devil, I'm going to get out of bed today. No, devil, you are not going to stop me from speaking truth. I don't know what level you're at. I don't know where you're at in your walk. I don't know where you're at in your journey, physically, mentally, and spiritually. But I know where I am. And that is not something I take lightly. And I get humbled along the way a lot. And I need to. Because the last thing that I ever want to do in any of this is look prideful, have an ego, but I won't be intimidated. And when I need to have confidence, I'm going to have confidence, and I'm going to stand in truth, and I'm going to say, stop. Because I'm going to put my boundary up on a different level with you. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? God help me. I have worked so hard to keep going in all of this and to go beyond what anybody has seen, to go beyond what anybody has heard, to go beyond the boundaries of religion and reading the Bible and what that looks like and what that means. But the people that I watch on tarot say God. The people that I watch on tarot talk about the divine. The people that I watch on tarot use the Bible and are biblical in what they are saying to me, tarot. And I have different tarot readings that do different things, just like I have different people in my life that have a different purpose. Some of you are in my life to help me physically. Some of you are in my life to help me mentally. Some of you are in my life to help me spiritually. Some of you are in my life to help me with all three in unity. God's purpose in our lives is different depending on the lens, depending on our goals, depending on where we're at. But God will put people in your life and put people in your journey on the physical realm, on the mental realm, but also on the spiritual realm. And in the spiritual realm, they call it the 5D. You go higher. You look at things differently on a different perspective. If He made the moon, the stars, the sun, if God did all of that, and how did they find Jesus in the manger? And astrology said, we will know on the star. Because God named the stars. Man named us Sagittarius, Tauruses, Libra, Scorpio. When I watch tarot, I do watch the ones that are Sagittarius. I'm not going to lie. But I also watch other people's. Because this is my proof to myself that I am hearing from God. Because I watch other people in their life and I know what's happening on a deeper level in other people's lives. So if I go and watch their tarot and it aligns with what's happening in their life, then I know what's happening. And I know that that is God. And then I can go deeper on being still and understanding because God has shown me what's next. This is deep, y'all. This is a lot to swallow. But I have people who know everything, even the tarot readings, and they're witnesses to what is happening right now. I have privately sent them a tarot reading that I wanted them to read about or wanted them to listen to, that I have I actually put it on Facebook and then took it off because God said take it off. And I said, okay. And so because I went in my impulse instead of having self-control. But I discerned God when he said take it off. And I said, okay. Because I needed the other people to look at it first before I go publicly with it. Because God wants to show what's happening next, even though other people are witnesses to it. So we now have to be still and wait for God to do what is next, so that I can show the proof in tarot. Is that witchcraft, or is that God? Is anything that I'm doing still not biblical? Is anything that I'm saying to you not of God? Do I look demonic to any of you? Do I look like a witch to you? If I am, I better be the good witch, because I love the Wizard of Oz, and we all know how deep and spiritual the Wizard of Oz can go, because I've talked about the Wizard of Oz more than once. And isn't it funny how when you untake the curtains off that big old guy, how little he really is on the Wizard of Oz? Something we all can relate to, isn't it? Have a heart, have courage, have a brain. Courage is the Holy Spirit and God. The brain is our mindset. Our heart, we all know. But Dorothy had to see all of them separately, didn't she? And then she had to put them all together to find out who she was. To go back home because she wasn't happy at home. And they took her dog, and this and that. The evil witch took her dog. Come on, y'all. In the spiritual realm, a narcissist is called a Jezebel. I'm going back to my point now. Now that we have a little bit more history, now that we know a little bit more, let's go a little bit deeper. They're called Jezebel spirits. There are some amazing books out there that you can read about the Jezebel spirit. And there is a church that I used to go to in Fort Worth called Mercy Culture. And the Landon, I don't know his name, and I'm sorry, somebody else can tell me what's the name of the book. I don't know the name of it, but I've read it. And it goes deeper spiritually as far as who Jezebel is. And when I read this, when I got out of the cult, I went, that's her, that's her, that's her. And other people who left the cult had already been reading that and introduced that book to me to help me understand that spirit better. And then I saw myself and what I was doing in the cult that was the Jezebel spirit because of the influence that I was under, because of the spell that I was under. You act like your leadership. I am not, and I'm going to make this very clear publicly, I am absolutely under no circumstances making an excuse for my actions for sleeping with somebody married in the ministry. I have been public about that, I have talked about that, and everybody on my Facebook knows about that. That was my sin that I carried. But look at God go. Who did he use in the Bible? Some of the worst people he used in the Bible, didn't he? Or people that we looked at as the worst, because I'm no longer the worst. I'm done with that. I'm done with carrying that shame. I'm done with carrying that sin. God has already forgiven us. God has already taken that sin away. I am freed from that. But there are people who are not free from the Jezebel spirit. There are people who are not free from their addictions. There are people who are not free from their sins yet. And we got to pray them. We got to pray it in. We have to give them to God. We have to hope that God is doing what he needs to in them, correct? And I have said this. I have said that God will go to whatever means he needs to get you to your rock bottom for you to hear him. And what was meant for evil, God will turn for good. So maybe you got sick. Maybe you got hurt. Maybe you had to have surgery. Maybe there's something happening that's going to help you in the long run, but right now looks pretty crappy. And you don't know if you're going to survive it, and you don't know if you're going to heal from it, and you don't know if this is going to help you. Physically, mentally, and spiritually, it's all going to help you. Remember that. A Jezebel is a narcissist male or female. It doesn't matter. A narcissist is male or female as well. They manipulate, they change, they do. So in your weakness and in your vulnerability, they hold you down. And they continue to tell you everything that's wrong. And they continue to tell you everything that's wrong with you, but never support you when you hit a victory. Never support you when you hit a goal. And the minute you become more like yourself, more bubbly, more happy, more excited, you're looking for attention. You need to calm down. What? You have a tattoo, and your tattoo, I don't even know if I could show you the tattoo. Can you? I don't. Let me do this. Let me just do this. Let me try this. I don't even know if that's a good angle, but whatever. I have this tattoo, and it does. It looks very demonic. I ain't even gonna lie. It does. It looks demonic, you know, in the whole bit. But that was a time in my life. It was a time in my life that I will not forget. And maybe for me, this is a reminder. But to somebody under the wrong leadership, you need to change your tattoo because you're demonic. What? And all I'm going to say to you is what? Because trust me, I battled her. And every time that I battled her, she took something from me. I'm not going to go into detail, but there are people on my Facebook who can contest to what I'm saying to you all. Then let's have emergency meetings and let's talk about her. So that we're all on the same page as far as what's happening, so that I can cover what I'm doing before she speaks it and I lose my sheep. Are you fruitful? Are you growing? Are you healing? Are you making amends? Are you forgiving? With your heart? Is it genuine? I don't know. It's not my journey, it's yours. Sometimes we have to see ourselves in what they call, in many different languages, so just go with me here because you all know me now. I am going on different levels and I'm talking to everybody. I'm not just talking to religious people. I'm not just talking to, everybody has different beliefs. So just hear me out on however you hear me, okay? Because I'm done with the religion. I'm done with everybody telling me what's demonic. I'm done with everybody telling me that I have witchcraft. I'm done with that. I'm done. If you don't like it, don't watch me. If you don't like it, don't follow me. If you don't like it, take me off your Facebook. I'm not here to please you. I'm here to please God. And God does not see color. God does not see race. God does not see things the way man does. Hold your core of who you are. Hold your integrity. Hold your character in every circumstance the best that you can. I am not perfect, and I am going to screw up, and I'm going to make a lot of mistakes because I am human. I am not better than somebody else. I am not, there's so much to this. But I have been given a purpose. And God is honoring a platform that I do not yet know where is going. But I have said it, and I have said it, and I'm going to continue to say it. We are going publicly somehow with this. We have a lot of people to heal. We have a lot of hurt. We have a lot happening in this world. And there's a lot of laws that need to be changed. There's a lot of things that we have got to start to rise up and look at. And we are not going to let the devil win. The victory is ours, and it is written, and we know who the author is on earth as it is in heaven. When I look at my tattoos that tell my story, because as you all know that my name of my thing is Tattoos of the Heart. That's the name of my channel. I was going to write a book at one time. It was going to be called Tattoos of the Heart. I have tattooed myself because I wear my heart on my sleeve. When I go somewhere and people are looked at who have tattoos wrong, they are looked at as evil. They are looked at as having whatever you want to say, demonic. Come on now. These are conversational pieces when you walk somewhere, y'all. We are God's masterpiece. If you look back on history and tribes and they tattoo themselves, there's a whole tribal thing to that, correct? People get tramp stamps. I get it. People are young and dumb and they're going to do stupid shit. I get it. That's why we have tattoo artists who are brilliant and can go, let's change this. You know what I mean? Like, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? But some of us go, no, that's a time in my life that I want to remember. I was young and dumb, but man, that's a reminder for me, right? I don't need you to cover it up. I don't need you to change it. I need you to accept where I was at in my journey. I need you to accept who I was at a time. And some things on you are your reminders. Some of us know that they're on for life. And so we have a story to tell. Because we have scars. We have pain. We suffer in silence, a lot of us. Because you come from a mentality of being told everything. And so when you try to be yourself again, it's really hard to trust that. Because you don't know how you're going to be perceived because all you've been told is things that are wrong with you. And if you know my journey, you know how deep this goes for me. So it is really easy for someone to take that weak moment of yours and go, come with me, child. I got you. This is all God. This is all meant to be. And you go, it's gotta be. And you hold on even when God is trying to pull you away and you keep going back. So you give it to God and you take it back. And you give it to God and you take it back. I was in and out of the cult twice. Because I watched their lives get sucked out of them. I watched their breath. I watched their soul be sucked out of them all. And I begged people to listen to me. But everybody has to learn it for themselves, and everybody has to see it for themselves. And thank you, God, for getting the people out who are out and for saving those. And they're flourishing. And they have ministries. And they are doing God's work, and I'm watching it and I am seeing it. But there are those that are still in it. and you know who they were, and you see who they've become, and you know the process in between. You know what the devil is doing. And there's nothing you can do but give them to God and pray that He will open their eyes. And that is so hard to do, isn't it, with our loved ones? It's so hard to watch them. I have current situations that I'm doing this with that are my loved ones. Because they're not ready to receive. Because they're not ready to listen. Because no matter what I say or how I say it, it's not going to be perceived right. So I have to sit in silence. And I have to let God do whatever God does in this. But when you know me, when you truly know me, and you have watched my journey, then you know what everything that I'm telling you is coming from the heart. In my vulnerable state, God help them all. God wake them up and let them see you. If you are having an addiction, come on, we're here. There are resources for alcoholism. There is resources for drug addiction. There is resources for a bunch of things. There is no resources for cults. There's no resources for spiritual abuse. So they run from the church. They run from their loved ones. They run because they have been hurt in the church. If we are the church on the street, we have to be the church in the building. And there are churches out there who are of God and have a building for you to go to. But if you are in certain areas, you don't have that church. And so you don't believe. And you only see Christianity in one way. And you only have a perspective in a hurt space. And so people who are saying, come on in, we've got you, you're going, oh, hell no, you don't. I've been here before. I would love to go to a church, but I have not been to a church that has God yet. And that's the sad reality of the world we're living in. You better make sure that the temple that you are creating is of God. And you better make sure that the temple you are creating has a backbone, has a testimony, and has a story that everybody aligns with. The Bible is a testimony of God and what He is doing and what He can do. Jesus is a testimony and an example for all of us. In such a time as this. Your words matter. You know, when you want revenge, revenge can look a whole bunch of different ways, can't it? When you pray and you ask God, bring them to their knees, however your will is, because you know the God you serve and you know what rock bottom means, you are more than happy to pray for them to hit their rock bottom. You are more than happy to let them go. Because watching yourself and where you were at and where you are now gives you the peace to say, it's all yours, God. Because there is nothing in my power that I can do. Because spiritually, I have seen more. Higher, He has allowed me to see. The more humble I am to obey. I do not take my walk for granted. Please understand that. This past week, I posted about tarot and a different type of spirit because I've been doing yoga and I've been doing things and I've been learning more. And one of my very, very dear friends who knows everything about what happened in the cult space responded and said, I thought this was demonic. In my chaos of being bold, her response triggered me because I have been told that I've been demonic on everything. So I responded to her with facts. This. It was very, very much like this, okay? But I also know the person that I was talking to, but forgetting that I'm talking on Facebook to a mass of people who don't know her. Talking to a masses, or talking to more people who, to them, what I posted looked not of God. It wasn't done lovingly. It wasn't done correctly. So people pointed that out to me who love me dearly. And I was defending myself even with them and going, but you're not seeing it spiritually. You're not seeing it spiritually. And so she stopped me in my tracks and spoke biblically to me, spiritually to me, and said, now do you get it? And I went, she spoke my language. And we both looked at each other and like, holy crap, because she doesn't believe in the Bible, but she rattled off the Bible to me. And she knows the Bible better than I do. And we both went, oh my God. But she hit me to my core because God is my core. The Bible is my core. So she spoke some truths to me that took me back. And I went. She goes, do you now see it bigger? You're talking to everybody else about going bigger. You got to start practicing what you preach. And I go, I didn't realize I was preaching to this many people. And she goes, what you're saying isn't wrong. How you're saying it is to other people's perspective. But I am not a social media guru person like TikTok and this YouTube stuff. And so I don't realize that people are probably watching this. And so, or more people are on my Facebook, but my Facebook are my peeps. But I forget that my peeps all don't know each other. But if they only knew how much they know each other, but that's okay. That's later on in our journey. But anyways, so I go, that makes so much more sense what you're saying. She literally said, use the Bible, and she used God and the Mass, and I just went, oh my God, what is happening? But I understood her. And so I sat on it and I prayed and I was like, God, please forgive me. And so I messaged my friend privately and apologized, and she was like, you're totally fine. She goes, we have difference of opinions. It's totally good. I love you, sis. It didn't matter to her. And because she knows me and I know her, my response made sense to her. And when I tried to explain that to my friends, their rebuttal was, okay, but not all of us do because we don't know her. And you have to remember that there are worldly views that you are talking to. And I went, holy crap. It was deep, y'all. I went through some stuff this week on how I'm perceived. And if I'm going to have integrity and my character, both in private and in public, have got to be the same, was what I did showing God. And I went, holy cow. But I had to work through all of this, and oh my God, my laptop didn't show up. Isn't that a coincidence that all of this happened this week? Because God, what was meant for evil, God turned for good. For this moment, for this boldness, to stand in front of you in full form. Not of my strength, y'all. I don't have a piece of paper in front of me to give you a sermon. I don't have highlights. I don't have Bible verses that I'm giving you. I don't work like that. That's not how I do this, because I feel that if I am giving you scripture, then I'm becoming religious and I'm throwing scripture at it going, it's got to be this way. That's not my job. I just want you to know God, however you need to see him, because he goes by many names. But our morals and our beliefs are all the same. We all want to be good. We all want to do good. We all want to help each other. We all want to be givers and doers and this and that. But sometimes the devil really creeps in. And before you know it, you're getting slapped in your face going, holy cow, what have I become? Right? How did I get this low? How was I so much in the underworld that I didn't even realize that I was in the underworld? But when you stand on your faith, you can go into the underworld. Constantine is a great movie. Great example of this. You hold true to who you are, you can fight that enemy. And you can go in on that level to plant seeds. And depending on who you talk to, depending on who you know, depending on how it looks, and you get to know them on an individual basis as you're going in your journey, you hear a lot of stuff. You get a lot of gossip in the underworld. You get a lot of things told to you in the underworld. You get attacked a lot in the underworld. Don't you? You gotta let them. Because they're coming from a space of confusion. They're coming from a place of ego. They're coming from a place of selfishness. They're coming from a mindset of them having the power and them being able to do it. Go ahead. Keep taking the power. Go ahead. Keep doing it your way, boo. You do you, boo. I'm done. I am done having control of it. I will go in and do what I have to do, but I will pull myself back out, and I will have peeps that will pull me back out when I need to be put out. There will be peeps that are going to humble me in a loving way for me to understand. But you cannot stand there and say that you're going to mentor me and call me a mentor instead of calling me a friend, because you want to separate yourself. You want to be better than somebody else. Nobody's better than anybody else. Some are just more mature than others. Some are wiser than others. But we all have a story. We all have a past. We all sin. So you continue to judge what you don't know. It's raining. God love it. You continue and you continue to judge what you don't know. Based on what? Your perception. At some point, you gotta let God in. At some point, you got to trust yourself. At some point, you have to start learning to trust others and realize that they're not out to harm you and they're not out to get you. But when you come from a cult mentality, the devil is what's the word I'm looking for? The devil is prominently established more. When you want to talk about how the devil's working against you more than you're talking about how God is working for you, bees, get out of here. Although bees are supposed to be a good thing. That's what I've heard. And it's raining. That makes no sense. Then you glorify the devil and you start to be afraid of the world. And so you start to shun. And because you are told you don't want those attachments on you. That person has the Jezebel spirit. You need to stay away from that person. This person has, and so really they're reflecting on themselves. And so instead of looking at themselves, it's always easier to blame somebody else. Isn't it? I had the Jezebel spirit. I ain't gonna lie. I've never said that I didn't. But so was the leadership that I was under. This is about an hour. Oh yeah, I'm going to stop here. I'm just going to end this here because this was a lot. And this was a lot to take in. But I want you guys to understand the cult mentality that I have been under. And so when you call me mental, and when you tell me, when you say that was demonic, I look at it as you're telling me I'm demonic because this is what I believe. And I got offended at her. And so I am coming on here and I'm going to download this, but as I'm downloading this on my YouTube, I'm going to go on my Facebook and I'm going to share who she is, and she has given me permission on my Facebook to go ahead and explain who she is and what is going on and what happened, so that I can start putting puzzle pieces together for everybody on Facebook on a tighter thing, because that is my peeps. That is my circle. That is my safe space, that I feel that the people who are on my Facebook know me and have accepted me physically, mentally, and spiritually. Not all of them have, because sometimes you need to keep your enemies closer, don't you? They need to see it. You don't shun them. You don't stop talking to them. You don't do that, right? You let them see you. To a point. Sometimes you have to put a boundary up, because sometimes it's just too much. I pray that God is talking to you. I pray that you are hearing everything with spiritual eyes. I pray that you are healing yourselves in this process. I feel him. And I feel that God is about to move and groove. There's a full moon tonight, y'all. And I had said that after this full moon, karma, blessings, miracles, everything is coming next. For some, that's good karma. For some, that's bad karma. And I apologize for saying it that way. But we all know that it is what it is. You reap what you sow. Make sure that who you watch and what you do is the best to your ability of being proper in it. Because if we are going to continue to do this, then we have to continue to show God. We have to continue to show Jesus' walk. We have to continue to do this somehow. And it's not easy when you have to help yourself on some things. You have to fix some things, you know? And it's really hard when you're doing it publicly. But I hope that in this, You see the humanity in me. You see the realness in me. You see that I am not holier than thou, and I'm not, that's not the purpose in any of this. My purpose is to help people on so many different levels so that we can fight a good fight on so many different levels. What's happening in the world is becoming the underworld. What's happening to us is becoming higher. Because we don't see things on a worldly view. Do we? Some of us are in the trenches in the underworld, living in them cities, trying to hold down the forts, trying to close them borders, trying to do the things that need to be done to protect this. To protect this. To protect this. The Holy Spirit, our hearts, our minds, the beauty that God is giving us, the opportunity that God continues to throw at us, the chances, the faith, the goals, the harvest, the blessings, the miracles. God will bring the prodigal home. Just let them know the door is open. The door is always open. You just have to be ready to go through it. You have to be willing to get on your knees and say, it is not of my power anymore, and I surrender. God is right there, ready to go. Come on, child, I have something to show you. Rise. Rise up. And do not walk in shame any longer. Grab your mat and walk. You are healed. Do not let man dictate your healing. Physically, mentally, and spiritually. Man, I can't wait to see what God does next with this. Holy cow, you guys. That was a lot. That was a lot. It was a lot for me. Because I have to live this every single day, and I have to watch this journey every single day in detail. Mentally, physically, and spiritually. And combine all of this and be silent when I need to be silent and say something when I need to be silent. I go, holy cow, God. But when I flow with him, when I don't worry about when I'm supposed to say it or how I'm supposed to say it, but I just recognize and I discern and I see it and I know it, God is grooving. Woo-hoo! All right, I love you. Bye, guys.